Right, what we're doing today is we're planting some seeds out in the greenhouse, or you can plant them on the windowsill. We're planting out cabbage and broccoli or calabrese seedlings so that they get a good start. These will be planted in here and grown on in warm conditions, so in the house or a greenhouse, and then they'll be planted out into the garden later in the spring. We're filling our tray with compost. The beauty of this tray is that we plant one seed in each little compartment, and then we can plant them out without having to disturb the roots of the seedlings. We just push them up from the bottom once they're big enough, and it pushes the whole plug out with the roots and everything, and you don't have to touch the or break any of the damage any of the roots. Very small seeds, as you can see, and we're just going to put one in each compartment.
How to make biodegradable plant pots for your seedlings. You need a piece of newspaper, cardboard in a tube or a jam jar will do. Measure your paper, you need it to be twice the length of your chosen tube or jar. Trim your paper down, just roughly, it doesn't have to be too accurate. Take your piece of paper, fold it 2/3 of the way down, make a slight crease. This folded bit is the top of your pot. Take your tube or jam jar and loosely roll it. If you roll it too tight, you'll have trouble getting the tube out. Just loosely roll it along. You've used all the paper, and tiny little bit of tape just to fasten it there. Turn it upside down, so your nice folded end is the top of the plant pot at the bottom. This is going to make a little bottom by folding it in on itself. Tiny bit of tape. Nice and flat. And that is your little plant pot. Just carefully take the inner tube out, or the jar, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky. And there is your plant pot. Biodegradable, put your compost in, and your seedling. By the time it goes in the ground, the bottom will have either rotted out with the roots, or you can simply snip it off with a pair of scissors.
Right, so here we are with the homemade plant pots, made them out of rolled up newspaper. So now we're going to plant some seeds in them. So you need to fill them up with compost, fill it right to the top, and then firm it down a little bit so it's just not quite full to the top, just like that. And then you can plant your seeds in here. And the beauty of doing it this way and using these disposable, if you like, plant pots, is that once the plants have grown and you want to plant them out into the garden, you simply dig a hole, plant the whole thing, and this newspaper will rot away and the plants will be able to go on without you having to disturb the roots by getting them out of the plant pot, etc. You may decide when you come to plant them, if these aren't degrading quick enough, you could just tear down the side to help them degrade and to let the roots grow out. So you can use these to plant, you know, lots of different seeds really. You could plant your brassicas in there, so your cabbages and your cauliflower, plant a seed in there and grow the plant on until it's big enough to plant out. What we're going to use them for is some peas and some beans. So you plant your pea seed, simply shove it, push it in so it's covered up, put a bit more compost over the top, and then that's ready to go with the water in once you've done it. Next pot up, broad bean seed, simply shove it down so it's covered, a little bit of compost over the top, and there you go. So there we are, we've planted a few broad bean seeds in there. We'll keep going and fill the whole tray, and then these should germinate and we can plant them out later.
The tomato seeds you saw being planted and then sorted by robots are now being sent out to greenhouses. The empty greenhouse is first prepared. It must be kept very clean. This reduces pests and disease and the need to spray chemicals to control them. Then the tomatoes are planted in rows. Set out is perhaps a better word than planted, as at first they are left in the rockwool blocks they come in. This is to encourage them to grow more trusses rather than roots.
It'll grow out into a truss. There'll be 8 or 9 flowers on it, which we then bring the bees in, which will pollinate the flowers, and then your tomatoes will start setting. And we expect to put a truss on every week of the year. So we should get up to about 30 trusses off in a year, in a full season. Now this should be visible within a week, should be clearly out, and within about 10 days we probably start seeing the first flowers, which is when we'll introduce the bees.
The tomatoes are placed in rows and then fastened to these strings. These men are fastening the tomato plants to the strings now.
Apartment, we take a measurement of the greenhouse temperature, the relative humidity. Every morning we'll come in and we'll check our graphs and make sure the temperatures are being alright, the pipe temperatures are being alright, the vents are operating as they should be.
This greenhouse has just had a thermal shield fitted in the roof. This helps with insulation and keeping the right temperature. It will save on energy wastage and fuel costs, which are very high for a greenhouse. We will follow these tomatoes closely over the coming weeks. Cattle usually calve in the spring, so in preparation for this the farmer has been rounding them up. Rather than chase the cows around, which would not be good for their unborn calves, the farmer is trying to lure them out of the field by letting them see their food. See if it works. Success! It's working! Even though the farmer has to keep dropping a bit of food on the floor, the cows are now following him. Except these ones, they're having none of it. They're stood watching the farmer from the middle of the field. What do you think they're saying? Whilst cattle are happy having their calves outside, bringing them inside just makes it safer and easier for the farmer to monitor this important event. You can keep following our countdown to calving either via our website or on Twitter. Pigs can have their baby piglets all year round. Pigs giving birth is called farrowing. Most pigs farrow inside. We saw pregnant sows being kept and fed in large groups. The sow's pregnancy or gestation lasts 114 days. That's 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days. The sows we saw were mated with a boar on the 15th of October, so when will they be due to farrow? About a week before they are due to farrow, the sows are taken out of the straw yards and moved to special farrowing houses. The farrowing houses are kept warm for the newborn piglets, and the sows are kept in special farrowing crates. The sows are kept in farrowing crates so that they don't accidentally lay on the pigs, injuring or even killing them. Having the sow in these crates also makes it easier for the farmer to tend the newborn piglets, giving them injections to keep them healthy. Pigs can farrow outside in special huts or farrowing arks. This is better for the sow as she is not confined. But it does mean that more of the piglets can be accidentally crushed. A sow can weigh over 250 kilograms, or they can die from cold. Did you work out when the sow was due to farrow? Oh, it's now! This sow is now farrowing, and she will have anywhere between 10 to 15 piglets in a very short time. The piglets are soon on their feet and feeding themselves. How old were you when you first walked and made your own tea? In the coming weeks we will follow these piglets as they grow up.